Hello everyone and welcome to an unboxing of a Night Models Black Friday 2023 order, a year almost to the day where I placed a very large order for a Black Friday sale and unfortunately resulted in receiving an empty box, which Night Models did eventually sort out and I received compensation for. But it was a little bit disheartening to have that before Christmas, and I hadn't actually ordered directly from them since that time. So it has been exactly a year. I've just taken off my postage label, their postage label, so there's no personal information on here. But I haven't opened the box. I wanted it to be on camera since there's insane people on the internet who seem to think that I faked something to do with getting an empty box because they don't ever leave the house. So doing it on camera, not doing it in one take, but at least doing the unboxing in one take so that if there's any empty boxes or anything like that, undeniably opening it for the first time here. And we're going to take a little look at what I ordered in their Black Friday sale, talk about it a little bit, and make sure everything is as it should be. And as I said last year, if you also placed an order for something from their Black Friday sale this year, let me know how you got on. So, I do have to turn it though because I'm going to have to hide the invoice with personal information on it. Sorry, did you see that water splash on my hand there? It is torrential out there. The package is a little warped, but that's because of the rain. It is not their fault. Let me just... I don't even see the receipt, to be honest. Alright, never mind then. Let's take a look at what we're going to be looking at today. Is there not a receipt in here? Well, we're going to be taking a look at Sinestro, Lord of Fear. There's stuff in there. Kid Flash. There's stuff in there. Unveiling the Truth. Definitely stuff in there. It's quite full, actually. Little Nightmares. Not to be confused with a video game with the same name. Something in there. Some more Red Lanterns, definitely stuff in there. There isn't actually okay, fair enough. We're looking at Hal Jordan, stuff in there, and Atrocitus, definitely stuff in there. Off to a good start. So here's everything all laid out together, and the first thing you'll probably notice is obviously there isn't that much Batman stuff. I guess it is kind of half and half, but box size wise it's not Batman focused. That's partially just because there wasn't that much stuff that I wanted for the Batman miniature game, partly just watching what I was spending, and also because Night Models was selling off the DC Universe miniature game models super ridiculously cheap, like an amazingly good deal, which I guess is a good thing because it let me pick up some models I wouldn't have got otherwise, and let me finish off my Red Lanterns. Or the other way to look at it is this the death knell for the DC Universe game? It hasn't had a new release since the Red Lanterns. They've had the DC Deceased tie-ins, but they're just alternative models. They don't have their own stat cards or anything like that. So in terms of new releases, there hasn't been anything for a long time. And that's despite some of the Red Lantern cards mentioning, was it Sapphire Lanterns, whatever they're called? Like, there is some references on cards. In the hardback rulebook they released years ago, there's a Brainiac mention. Supergirl hasn't had a re-release outside of this version. So it's a little weird. I'm not sure if that's a DC problem or a them problem, but it was an opportunity to pick up some really nice looking larger miniatures for the DC Universe game that I skipped on for just an insanely good price. And some of the newer Batman stuff as well that I really like the look of, especially them, although it is unfortunate that the Little Nightmares were not officially painted and still aren't for that for the record. But we're going to get started looking at these, make sure all the resin is okay. There's no stat cards included in any of them as per usual, so we can't do that, but their stat cards are available online for free. Let's go down the big boxes, starting with Hal Jordan Brightest Light. That was the new version of Green Lantern they brought out when they had the Green Lantern kind of crew available for the game. I skipped on this because I don't like the big bases that have like so much empty space, but for the price they were selling, I'll accept it. And you could always model them on a smaller base, so let's see what's inside. That is, yes, not to go back to last year's video again, but people were like, when you were carrying the boxes, how is it possible not to notice that there's nothing in it? I don't know if you're aware, but the resin Night Models uses is super light. The difference between a box with resin in and a box without, when you're carrying a bunch of them, for one, there's no sound, and two, there's barely any difference in weight. It's exceptionally easy not to know it's empty until you open it. I wasn't faking anything, and I'm insulted, quite frankly, that there's insane people online that thought I was. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Mind you, that wasn't on my channel. My subscribers are good. That was just on channels that stole my video without permission. So, we have ourselves a detailed base right here for him to be lodged on. And I guess there must be, yeah, there's the crystal he's standing on. And cleanup is very clearly required. I'm not 100%. Oh, there we go. So that's going to slot in there like that. And then he is going to slot in on top of that. His head's broken off the part of sprue it's on, but that's okay. The detail itself, as good as you would expect. So there's the lantern, or the lantern charger. I don't know that much about Green Lantern. Now what do we have here? That's just for his base, I guess, to decorate it a little bit. Where's his head? Oh, there's his head. It looks so small. I'm used to the larger scale they've been going with for the Batman game, where there's been a little bit of scale creep. That is a tiny, tiny head on Mr. Hal Jordan. I guess it fits the body, of course, but the DC miniature game hasn't quite got as bulky as the Batman one has been getting. Everything seems fine there. We got both hands. One hand's already on him. There's the other one. Yep, that looks to me like everything is perfect. So the reason I never picked up Sinestro Lord of Fear when the Yellow Lantern wave happened for the DC Universe game was much the same reason as I didn't get the Hal Jordan, because I think they were around about the same time, and it was, look at, there's just a chunk of resin and there's not really much happening with it. Yeah, it's scattered with Green Lantern rings. Oh, interesting. Why is there a smaller base option? Oh, he slots inside it, doesn't he? I never realised that, but you can actually totally see that. That's acceptable. That's, and there's also, this must be a newer package, because it has their quality control reference, whereas the Green Lantern didn't. So this is, I could have sworn he came out before the new Hal Jordan, maybe I'm misremembering. Either way, you've got ourselves a big base option, which this would slot into, or press onto. But then we do also have the option to do him on a much more acceptable size. I wish they did that with him. I wish they did, that would have been so good. So he also is standing on this, which would let you mount it on either. Like you could mount it on that base, it slots in there. I mean, with everybody else being on a huge base, you've kind of got to go full ostentatious with Sinestro, I guess. But just zoom in a little bit to show you detail. Give it a second, there we go. Now, do we have all his bits? We have his body for sure. Some cleanup required, of course, but good. Yeah, the cape's got a lot of cleanup, actually. I'm not used to Sinestro in this costume. Never seen him in it. But, have we got, what have we got here? We have his itty bitty face and both hands. So again, not only is there everything that should be in the box, there's actually more than I expected, because I didn't realise he had that option. Looking at it now, I can see it clearly. I don't remember if the, sorry, wasn't zoomed enough, or zoomed out enough. I can see it clearly that he is slotted in there. I don't remember them even marketing that as an option, like, oh, he can be on a 60mm base instead. They should have. It would have made a difference for my purchasing back then. Last of the big boys, we have Atrocitus, Lord of Rage. I've got his old model, which is why I kind of skipped on him, and also just the individual price, because I think he came out after Night Models raised their prices a little bit. So, see, that is weird. This doesn't have a quality control thing. So that must be a newer print of Sinestro, because otherwise it would have it, because they've been putting it, like, I imagine all these Batman boxes are going to have them. We'll see when we get there. But maybe they had to reprint some of the older molds that people bought, like me. So for Atrocitus, the Red Lantern bases, I don't mind them being really large, because they're actually just fun, because they're rivers of blood with skulls and bones and things, so it's pretty cool. In fact, let's just see. Yep, that is a bunch of bones. It goes in like that. Let's zoom in. That is a bunch of bones. I'm okay with a stupidly large base when it's cool looking like that and will just be quite fun to paint. And I guess Atrocitus himself is very chunky compared to Hal Jordan and Sinestro. So there is part of him. He's missing his leg, which is there. That will just slot in with the skulls he's standing on. And we do have his two hands here. Again, everything that should be there. But this must have been put together before they started doing quality control again, which is weird, because the Red Lanterns came out a long time after the Yellow Lantern releases. Alright, last of the DC Universe stuff that I bought in their Black Friday sale, Supergirl and Guy Gardner, Rage Driven, aka the Red Lantern powered versions of these two characters, because Guy Gardner was actually also in the Green Lantern release. There is not a quality control thing in here either. We do have what looks like a right amount of resin to me. So we've got ourselves our two bases, we've got ourselves our two scenic bases, and we have some resin to zoom in on. We've got ourselves part of Supergirl. I'm not sure what's her parts, I presume these are her hands. Right there, her head's already on. Where is, that's her cape? No, that's not her cape. One of these is her leg, I'm going to presume it's that one. I think that's every part of her. Right there, and then for Guy Gardner, He's rocking that divorced dad look in this version of himself. And, oh, ridiculous amount of cleanup to this leg. Look at that. You shouldn't be sending out molds that come out like that. You should clean it up a little bit. But it should be there. That doesn't really need anything because it's all come off. And that is his 2 hands. So we do have all of it, but a ridiculous amount of cleanup on this leg. Alright, happy Halloween. Let's get on to Scarecrow's Little Nightmares, a new, cheaper henchman release for the Scarecrow crew that came out back in roughly Halloween time. Love little pumpkin enemies, so I had to get these. I'm glad I waited for a sale. And it is a newer packing, or producing of them, because there's a quality control thing in here again. I think it's the same number too. They're printing them a bit larger now as well. So you get 4 of these, but it's 2 of one pose and 2 of the other. So at a glance, I'm not 100% sure I'll be able to tell everything is here that should be. We definitely have our 4 scenic bases, of course. I count 4 heads, and I count the 4 major bodies. Let's just zoom in a little bit, show you the quality of them. Those look perfect to me. These, a bit harder to tell, but because they're at a weird kind of like lurching advance, I think. Like they're going to be like that, I believe. That looks okay to me. Let's maybe try and zoom in on one head, although I think even though they're in different poses, I think the same head is used for all 4. Let's see here. There's the front. Well, I don't think that's going to focus. You can kind of see if I hold it like that. There we go. So 4 itty bitty biddle, litty biddle? That'll do. I'm not doing a second take. Itty bitty little monsters that aren't actually there. They have slightly different rules to the larger guys, but they're cheaper as well, so you can bring lots of them. A random bit of thing that shouldn't be in there, but whatever. I'm glad that everything is there, but that's what I expect when there's someone who knows they'll be culpable if there's something wrong. So the reason I originally skipped out on Kid Flash is because there's a new Speedster deck to use Speedsters in 3rd edition, and they didn't do a physical release of it. You have to print it off yourself, which I wasn't really willing to do. I suppose I will now at some point. Interesting. This is a fairly new sculpt, but no quality control record in here. But either way, I felt like the pose felt very 2nd edition to me, and I don't know how else to articulate it beyond that. Like I looked at this and I thought, like, ignore the photoshopped lightning effects from the Speed Force, and that just screamed, like, especially with the smoke there, it screamed a 2nd edition sculpt to me. I don't know, that's just the vibe I got. Like, oh, he's on a larger base, but has no kind of scenic base or anything like that. It is just a case of slotting him a bit untidy as well. But there is his body. Give it a second. Hopefully won't really need to zoom in because there isn't that much to see, to be honest. But that's his body. We've got ourselves the other leg and 2 hands, and his face is actually this side. Let's just zoom in real quick and give it a moment. There we are again, more cleanup. Can you imagine someone who isn't familiar with this game getting this kind of thing and not having a clue about how to use a modelling knife or tweezers or clippers or anything to clean this kind of stuff up? I'm curious what they do. So last but not least, 3 models fitting into just this little box. A fairly new release, but it was actually still included in the sale because it was added the month before the sale. We have the new Huntress model, we have Spoiler for the first time, and we have Clown Hunter for the first time. I never remember if it's Clown Killer or Clown Hunter. I'm fairly sure it's Hunter, even though he kills clowns, which is where the confusion arises from. And it doesn't say their names on the back. No, it does not. So you better know the characters you're buying, I guess. Let's see. This is, as I say, this only came out just before Black Friday, so, well, I was going to say it has to have a quality control thing. I was wrong. Okay. So one character has been separated from the rest. I'm not sure which it is yet. Let's open it and see. This is Clown Hunter. Because he doesn't seem like he goes with them. It feels like there should have been, I don't know, a Batgirl or, I don't know, Orphan or something. But he gets a nice detailed base, which is good. And he's just a little bill guy, to go back to what I previously missaid. But he has got a baseball bat with a batarang lodged in it, so be careful. And most of his parts have fallen off the sprues, but there's his mohawk as well. But everything appears to be there if it should be. I want to keep it all together nice and gently, just like that. So Spoiler and Huntress, they just get hooked in together right here. So on a broken Wayne Enterprises sign, which is there, that's what Spoiler's standing on. which would be not this base, it would be, yep, probably that one. Yes, must be, because there's a crossbow on this one, right? Or a space for a crossbow. So we've got, that's Huntress's upper torso. Now let's just zoom in a little bit. Good enough, hopefully. Just like Mantis with those bits of flash sticking out her head. That's the rest of her body there, along with her crossbow for slotting in. She's got both hands. Where's her other leg? One of these legs will be hers. I don't know which, but one of them will be. And then, spoiler, with a very billowy cape. Must have been a windy day in Gotham that night. So she's kind of like at an angle though. She's kind of like at that. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. So this should be all spoilers parts. Her head, her hand, her other leg, and yeah, one of those other legs down there. So, to be fair, no problems as far as I can tell with any of the sprue. And that is going to do it for a look at a November 2023 Night Models Black Friday order from me. And obviously not anywhere close to what I spent last time, but a lot better in terms of having everything it should. Like 3 or 4 of the boxes had the quality control. The others I'm just going to hope were done at a different time, so that's why there wasn't any. It should continue because it's a good way to keep track of quality control, which is one of the problems facing Night Models. In general, the DC miniature game, it gives me the impression that it's starting to be on the way out, but I have nothing to prove that beyond them selling it off so cheap. The Batman miniature game is in a very bizarre place because you can't really play it right now unless you're willing to print off new objective cards, new rulebook, and new statistics as well for your characters. Which I've done a separate video talking about if you're curious. I think it might be live by the time you hear this. If it isn't, look forward to it because it's the first time in many years that I've done anything even broaching on editorial in nature. But either way, the point here though was to look at this order, show it off a little bit, and also check, more importantly, that everything was as it should be. And it was, to be fair, a lot better than last year. Thank you very much for watching this video. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you next time. Ta-ta for now.